following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, what the F is going on? I am your host, Jooseyboy. Welcome back to the WZWA Network. This is your MLW Fightland 2023 recap and review. Apologies in advance. You might be able to hear the humming of a fan in the background. Here in Australia, it is about 40 degrees Celsius. It's bloody hot, as we like to say in the land down under. So you're going to have to just bear with me on that. So this show took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on November 18th, 2023. Sorry that it's a little bit delayed. There's so much wrestling to cover. It sometimes takes a while to get around to catching up on everything. Okay, so the event began with a funky little montage of the main competitors in the event, sort of just showing all the people in the featured matches for Fightland, and it was just a snappy sort of 30-45 second montage that started things off on a cool note. We then throw right down to ringside where Matt Striker and Joe Dombrowski, they run down the main event matches before we go straight out to the first match, which is the Tag Team Championship ladder match between the Calling and the Second Gear crew. And I like the snappy pace that this starts off at. It doesn't waste any time. It doesn't take 20 minutes to get into it. It's just boom, on with the show. And I appreciate that. So, match number one, as I just alluded to, MLW World Tag Team Championship ladder match. The Second Gear crew, that's One Cold Manders and Matthew Justice. Mance Warner's competing in a different match later on tonight. Versus The Calling, which is the team of Akira and Ricky Shane Page, who were the champions going into this match. This being a ladder match, a tag team title match, and a blow-off match to this feud that these two teams have been having. It starts off hot, as it should. Ricky Shane Page set the pace with a really nice cross-body block on the outside. A ladder match like this is so much more fitting, and the stakes feel so much higher in a smaller promotion like MLW. And the announcers, as always, did a great job. I'll be commenting on that probably several times throughout this review. But they really focused on how dangerous this type of match is, and how dangerous ladders are, and how they aren't going to cooperate with you, and how you're going to have to factor in the movement of everything around you in everything that you do in order to avoid being harmed by those ladders. So I thought that really helped draw me as a viewer more into this tag team title ladder match. Not that it was bad. I thought that this was a decent effort, especially given the time that was allotted. So even though this was a pretty big, pretty high stakes match, it only went for 12 minutes 20. So, you know, you have to sort of cut them a little bit of slack because they had to work within the time they were given. So, going down in my notes here, the competitors continuously tried to win the match. In my discussion of the tag team title ladder match at the recent AEW Full Gear pay-per-view event, one of my big gripes with that match, if anyone watched that, was the fact that the competitors didn't bother actually trying to climb the ladders and pull the championships down as a matter of urgency. We did not have that problem here at MLW Fightland in this ladder match. All the competitors, the heels, the faces, both members of each team, tried multiple times in this 12-minute, 20-second time span to scale those ladders and grab those belts. There was no messing around just trying to do stuff for the sake of trying to get a pop. So next down here in my notes, even though it's a ladder match, it's being treated with respect and legitimacy. It still carried the cachet of being a tag team title match, and the announcers showed a lot of respect and deference to that. Even though it's kind of a wacky stipulation with the ladders, this was still treated very sports-like. I like that it moved quickly, even though I think that it could have probably benefited from a little bit more time being given to it. But the pace moved in a quick manner, which I enjoyed. But they weren't worried about doing, as I said, 5,000 different stunts either. There was a bit of a silly spot with, I wrote Manders here, that was a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. For some reason I got Manders confused with Vance Warner in my head for a second. They're both part of the second gear crew. So, alright, so there's a spot where one called Manders and Matthew Justice I end up getting laid out, and Ricky Shane Page puts ladders on top of them, so now they're laying there and they have ladders draped over them. And I think they ended up doing something that resulted in something that the heels did, but the reason I put that in my notes is because the second gear crew guys just were holding the ladders over them like that while the heels were setting up the spot. And at any time, they could have just pushed the ladders off of them. Even though they were selling whatever it took to get them on the mat in the first place, they clearly weren't damaged to the degree that they couldn't shove the ladder off of them, and you could see that it was awkward with them waiting there for this spot to take place. And since I don't even remember what it was, you know, it really turned out to not be for anything. But that was really the only gripe that I have with this match. Other than that, I thought it was really good. Decent ladder match, didn't outstay its welcome, and the second gear crew, One Cold Manders and Matthew Justice, finally defeat the Calling to win the tag team championships here in MLW. I think that's the good decision. The right team won. I rated the match a B-. After it's over, Akira and Ricky Shane Page, they've lost the match. They argue about it before Akira gets fed up and attacks Ricky Shane Page. Ricky Shane Page, though, and the rest of the Calling start beating the shit out of Akira before, I think it was Ricky Shane Page, but I'd have to go back and double check. But they give Akira an Impaler DDT onto a set up. So they've unfolded and set up a steel chair, and they've turned that steel chair on its side. So it's a real awkward shape, and there's absolutely nowhere flat or comfortable to land on it. And then they've delivered the Impaler DDT onto Akira, which seemed to turn Akira babyface, and obviously I think it goes without saying that he's probably out of the Calling after that. But even though I've not been very happy with MLW over the past several weeks of my Fusion reviews, which you can see only on the WZWA Slam Society. That's our Patreon, which you can join for only $3 a month. But I haven't been too happy with MLW, if anyone's been watching those reviews. But here, with this angle and this match here, I think that they really did a good job. I thought this was well done. I'm not sure if I just mentioned a moment ago. I got a little sidetracked. I gave the ladder match a B-. I'll just say that just in case I forgot. So, coming off of that beatdown, it leaves Akira beaten down, bleeding. They've made a little new babyface out of Akira, and they've also put some heat back onto the Calling, even though they just lost the tag titles. So I thought that was good. Okay. From there, we throw to a cheesy 80s style promo video for MLW One Shot, which is their December 7th pay-per-view next month, which is being I say humorously in my notes because it's so obvious that it's all a kayfabe thing. But this was advertised as being a cross-promotional event between MLW and Mr. Saint Laurent's World Titan Federation, which is his kayfabe promotion within a promotion that he's running. And I thought that I got a kick out of that. I thought that was well done, and honestly, it did more to build my interest in seeing One Shot than anything I've seen on Fusion in the past several weeks. So coming out of that promo for One Shot, we then throw to a hype package for the Loser Leaves MLW match between Mance Warner, the leader of the Second Gear crew who wrestled in the ladder match moments ago, and Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder from WWE, and a so-called indie god, and a member of Mance Warner's World Titan Federation. I wrote in my notes here, I'm glad that this feud is coming to an end because it's floundered from the outset, in my opinion. But this is a Loser Leaves MLW match, so yeah, it's just what it sounds like. Whichever one leaves, got to pack their bags, get out of there. Right. The match starts out. These two have decent enough chemistry, and it's a shame they weren't given more of an opportunity to work together. I think this is only the second time they've gotten physical with each other in the ring. And they naturally have good chemistry, so it would be great to see more of them working together. We got a Death Valley driver by Matt Cardona onto a bunch of chairs that were set up in the ring. That was really well done. Matt Cardona is a great foil for Mance Warner. His whole pretty boy, I used to be in WWE, I've got the big bucks, I'm in demand as far as like being a talent on the indies. That whole attitude that he exudes is just the perfect counterbalance for that is Mance Warner with his blue collar, down to earth sensibilities in his character. So Warner eventually gets Cardona up on the top. He hits a really nice superplex. Both guys at the same time end up going out of the ring, going onto the ring, and they both end up pulling wooden boards out. And each of them sets up a board in the corner. They end up going through them at some point later on. They did a lot of stuff in this match, and it went by like a whirlwind, so I don't think I have it all written down. I'd probably give this a Jooseyboy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out. So by the time we get to the spot with the wooden boards between these two, it's definitely kind of broken down into a really physical fight. Matt Striker got a pop out of me by referring to Matt Cardona as Matthew, which made me laugh. The referee eats it after Mance Warner swings a chair at Cardona. Cardona ducks. Referee cops it right in the head. Warner then knocks down Cardona. He reverses the Rough Rider by Cardona, knocks him down, puts a trash can over his head, which falls off. So he picks it back up. He boots the trash can into Cardona's face. Goes for a cover. There's a visual pin on Matt Cardona, but the ref's down and can't make the count. MSL is frantic by this point out there. Steph DeLanda, who is Mance Warner's love interest, I think in real life, runs out and very predictably costs Mance the match by turning on him and aligning with the World Titan Federation. I did not like that decision there because it was so telegraphed, and like there's no reason why Mance Warner wouldn't immediately find it strange that his girlfriend chose to come out there at such a critical point in such a dangerous match just to give him a kiss on the lips and then cheer him on. It's just, it was nonsensical. I didn't like that. The ending was telegraphed, but the rest of the match was really good, and I was really getting into it, but it only ran for 8 minutes and 9 seconds, and we'll get to the running times of the matches a bit later. And so it wasn't given enough time to really get going. I could only really give it a C plus. But this match, post match, we continued on with these characters in an angle. There was a nice bit of drama. Mance Warner has lost the Loser Leaves MLW match, and he has to leave the building. Mr. St. Laurent tries gloating and bragging in front of him about how he has to leave, but guess what? He's already been told he has to leave, so he has nothing to lose, so he clocks MSL. Security come down, they start removing him. Mance Warner does a really good job of looking like he's genuinely really agitated and in a hyper agitated state. And he did a good job of coming across threatening. The camera follows as security in a mad rush try to get Mance Warner out of the building. Cardona, Steph DeLander, and Mr. St. Laurent follow along, and they're yelling and gloating and making fun of Mance Warner on his way out. So I guess the feud may not be over, but I'm happy to see that a new chapter has begun. I probably liked the post-match angle more than the match itself. But then it means, the match had to happen in order to get to the post-match angle. So you got to take the meh with the good. But I liked that. I hope that that continues to build in a direction that builds a lot of heat. Okay, so we then throw back down to ringside. They throw us to a little short recap on what's happened in the show so far. Then we go down to our third match, and, there is only 4 matches on this card, even though it goes for about an hour and a half, the entire show. So, we get a Lucha Rules tag team match. Ichiban and Mascara Dorada versus Promisiones Dorado, which is the team of Barbaro Cavanario and Rocky Romero. And that team was accompanied by Selena De La Renta. This was a really entertaining Lucha Rules tag match. Very smooth. Everything executed really well. It did feel odd being placed in this particular spot on the card, though. I have to say that. It really felt a bit strange. It seems like they used it as a buffer before the main event, but it was a better match than that spot designated as. They actually had a really good match here. They did a good job of highlighting Lucha Libre as being an important element of MLW. Selena De La Renta is a great heel manager, and she's great at what she does. I gave this Lucha Tag match a C+. We then went into I think it was a smartly done but quick hype package for the main event. Championship match between Alex Kane and Jacob Fatu. We don't really need a long hype package because we've already seen a number of other hype packages detailing the events surrounding this match in recent weeks. So, just the quick hype package is fine for me. And then we go to the classic sports-like tale of the tape. Always a nice touch, always helps legitimize it. Both guys come straight out for the match, and judging by, at this point, I remember as I wrote this, we're now an hour into the overall running time of the show, and I wrote the match times down here after I finished the show from Cage Match so that I could get this right, because this match felt like it went on forever. And the final running time for this match was 48 minutes. So it's just under, it's a bit under half, or maybe even, it's pretty much roughly half of the entire airtime of MLW Fightland was this main event. Okay? So it was long. But let's talk about the match itself without just complaining about the length. Alex Kane comes to the ring as champion for his championship match. He's got a great aura, great presentation. I wrote in my notes, I wonder where this aura has been in the past several weeks. several weeks on MLW TV. Maybe that'll change after this. I'm liking what I see with that so far. Jacob Fatu comes out. It's obvious why he is a star. I mean, the guy just has the look, he has the intensity. He's going to be somebody big in the wrestling business by the time his career is all said and done. This definitely felt like a main event as I was watching both guys square off at the beginning of the match. So I didn't take too many notes because I just wanted to kind of get lost in the match. This was by far the best match on the show, as it should have been, given the length, running length, and also the fact that it's the main event. But it was the best match on the card, and also the best pure wrestling match I've seen in a long time from MLW. They built it up very slowly, starting out on the mat, grappling for advantage. It was very much being presented, again, sports-like. The announcers and Mr. Thompson on commentary taking their time to really kind of analyze and discuss what was evolving in the ring as though it was a legitimate sport, a legitimate contest, which obviously helped me as the viewer get into it more. So, they begin on the mat. They grapple for advantage there, as I said. Then we slowly start seeing suplexes and slams get peppered throughout the match. Because it's two big guys, they're both powerful. This match has been presented as being a fairly even-keeled match as far as the power and strength game. So we start seeing the Impact be peppered around after the early going. Alex Kane, his strength and ability to suplex people is very fun to watch. When he picks up Fatu, Fatu is definitely bigger than Alex Kane, but Alex Kane just easily picks him up, controls him, carries him around, throws him for all these suplexes. It's really a fun thing to watch. And Jacob Fatu is an excellent at selling as well as on offense. It's clear why Jacob Fatu is the golden boy of the promotion and why he is one of their only exclusive signed talents. He's an incredible athlete. I think that he's got a future as well in probably one of the major companies. This match was the kind of performance I've been wanting to see from Alex Kane since I've been reviewing MLW, which has been for some time now. And I hope that the energy and the fire and the aggression and the passion that I saw from Alex Kane as champion in this match continues from him going forward. It was really well done on his part. Excellent performance by both guys. Throughout this match, both guys looked credible. They looked intense. I didn't feel like I knew who was going to win because they did a good job of making a compelling case for either competitor coming out the victor. The audience was into this. They appreciated the effort that went into making this feel like a real big fight main event match. At this point in my notes, I wrote, there are too many impactful moves to keep track of them in my notes. It's definitely being worked by these two guys as if it's an all or nothing match, which is exactly the way a world championship match should be worked. Great job by the commentators. They really made this feel like a huge deal. They touched on the personal lives of both wrestlers. They touched on the professional histories of both wrestlers. They touched on the ramifications of the physical damage of a title match like this on both wrestlers. Exactly what great sporting announcers should be doing. So yeah, Matt Striker and Joe Dombrowski, frankly, they were on fire throughout this event. I thought they did a very good job. I'll make sure not to forget about them when I'm considering best commentators in my end of year awards coming up soon. Um, so eventually, Alex Kane picks up the win. It was a really good match, as I just spent time detailing. But as I also said earlier on, the final running time being 48 minutes, I get it. It's a long. It's your world championship. It's the main event of a pay-per-view. You want a big match, but I mean, 48 minutes on a 1 hour, a 1.5 hour show that's a huge chunk of the show to devote just to one match, especially in 2023 with the fast pace that wrestling fans are used to these days. I liked it because I enjoy that type of match, but I also think that it still would have been just as good if you had a shaved, say, 10 minutes off of it, 10 or 15 minutes off of it, and just redistributed that time to either the ladder match or the loser leaves MLW match. But other than my gripe about the length of it, I thought it was a fine championship main event match, and I rated it an A minus, which is a pleasure because it's the highest rating I've been able to give an MLW match in quite some time. After the match concludes, Alex Kane. By the way, I shouldn't gloss past this without sort of mentioning it. So it is a huge deal that Alex Kane beat Jacob Fatu, even though Alex Kane was already the champion coming into this match. The commentators even directly said it. Until Alex Kane beats Jacob Fatu, he's not really the true champion. And what they meant by that was like, Jacob Fatu is the man in MLW, even when he's not holding the championship. Such is his pedigree in MLW, and such is the respect, for Jacob Fatu among the locker room. So that's what that was saying. And accordingly, Jacob Fatu doesn't take that many losses all that often. And so it should be mentioned that it's a big deal that Alex Kane got a clean title retention against Jacob Fatu. Now, Alex Kane celebrating after the match, biggest win of his career. The World Titan Federation crew runs down and they start beating down Alex Kane. So Cardona and a couple of other cronies, they start beating down Alex Kane. They're browbeating him. Cardona hits him over the head with the title belt several times. It looks like Matt Cardona is being positioned as the next world title challenger in the build-up for MLW One Shot, which I think is going to be a nice elevation in opponent for Alex Kane. Not that I'm putting down any of Alex Kane's previous opponents, just that I think that, Cardona is a nice opponent for a smaller promotions champion to face off against, because a much broader audience knows who he is and is familiar with his character. So that was the end of MLW Fightland 2023. I actually thought this ended up being a really good show. Probably a much better show than I expected, all things considered. I mean, given the dismal reviews I've been giving Fusion over the past several weeks. So I thought Fightland, this event, was the shot of adrenaline that MLW has needed for quite some time. I'm happy that I'm feeling this good coming out of an MLW show. I'm now looking forward to seeing what happens next, as opposed to just groaning when I think about it. We'll see if this positive upswing continues to hold into the next week of TV. My final rating for MLW Fightland 2023 from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is 7 out of 10. Very good show from MLW. So I'll be reviewing the fallout from MLW Fightland. As I said earlier, on the WZWA Slam Society, that is our Patreon, which you can join for only $3 a month. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more about MLW, you can head over there, check out our exclusive coverage there. But I want to know what you thought down below in the comments. What do you think about MLW? Do you give a shit about it at all? What did you think about Fightland if you watched it? Let us know. But until next time, I have been your host, Jooseyboy, with your don't know how to bloody talk today, with your MLW Fightland review, and I will see you down the road.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.